All right, hello everybody, and welcome into today's episode of Around the Slice. I'm Aiden, and thank you for tuning in today. If you're listening on the audio platforms, welcome back. If you're listening, actually watching on the new YouTube channel, welcome in for the very first time. If you're just finding here for the first time, we launched this YouTube channel just days ago. So if you want to see what we're all about, what my vision is for this channel, a little background on me personally, who I am as a person, then check out the welcome video I produced and uploaded earlier this week. But this is officially the second full episode here on the new Around the Slice YouTube channel. So, obviously, on Friday, we had our um we had our Bills-Jaguars game preview for the London game. Well, today on this Monday afternoon, we have our Bills-Jaguars recap and my thoughts. So, without further ado, without any more introduction, let's just hop right into it. So, first, I have a disappointing score to give you. Bills follow the Jaguars 25-20. So the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills in London 25-20. Before I get into actually first I want to this time there were 7 Bills inactives pregame. It was safety DeMar Hamlin, which that's expected. If Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Cam Lewis for special teams purposes, and Taylor Rapp are all active and healthy and unscathed, if you will, then DeMar won't be playing, unfortunately. Corner Christian Benford was out in this game. Kind of struggled at corner because he was injured. I thought he would play, but I guess he dealing with something. Defense on Greg Rousseau. This foot injury is kind of concerning. It's floating out there that might be a sprain, a fractured foot in the worst case scenario. And then 2 offensive linemen, Jermaine Ifedi and Alec Anderson. They're just in case of break glass situations. And then 2 defensive linemen, defensive end Shaq Lawson. I guess he was added to injury report late Saturday. So, and then defensive tackle Puna Ford, healthy scratch, healthy and active. This is what I don't get about Puna Ford. Your top 3 defensive, well, because of Daquan Jones' injury, he'll be active now. But heading into this game, I really don't understand. He was inactive for week 2, week 3, week 4, and now week 5 against the Jaguars yesterday in London, obviously. Your top 3 defensive tackles were coming into the day Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, and really top 2, because the other 2, Jordan Phillips and Tim Settle, were kind of disappointing. Like Jordan Phillips, at least when he's healthy, he's somewhat effective. Tim Settle only missed 1 game last year, but mostly for his year plus with the Bills going on his second year, he's done nothing. We could have cut him and saved $2-3 million this offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I guess they want to kept him, but for what? Like, he plays too 30, 35, even 40% of snaps in some cases, in some games, I should say. So I don't understand why Puna Ford's not being given a shot, but unfortunately, he'll be thrust into a shot because of the Daquan Jones injury. Now, before I get into my usual stuff, I just want to give my thoughts on the whole logistics of London. First, how the NFL handled it, and then how the Bills and Sean McDermott handled it. First, for the NFL, this was a stupid idea. Like, whose genius idea was it? Roger Goodell or whoever to say, oh, yeah, let's have one team in the Jaguars be there for a week plus, almost 2 weeks, and play there 2 weeks in a row. And let's have the Bills be there for 3 days at most. That's not fair at all. Like Travis Etienne said after the game yesterday, it gave us a huge advantage just to get our body clocks working. Yeah, no crap, it gave you an advantage, dude. Like, it's just not fair. Roger Goodell said before he left for London a few days ago, I believe it was, that this is an experiment. This is a test of sorts. Well, the test experiment totally failed. The Bills, I guess, were basically lab rats in a science experiment because this can just never happen again. That's not even fair. Like, how does someone justify having one professional football team there for 2 weeks and one professional football team there for 3 days? I don't get that. I know we lost this game, and I know people are going to say in the comments or somewhere else, well, you're just a Bills fan complaining. You're just giving excuses. We only lost by 5, first of all, so I'm not giving excuses. What I am saying, though, is it was a complete, utter ridiculousness how the NFL treated the Bills. I'm sorry. To put it bluntly, it is. And then after the game, um, the players were complaining left and right about the turf. Taron Johnson was saying after the game in the locker room, to reporters, that turf is terrible. They need to take it out. And then an unnamed Bills player apparently says to the Buffalo News, "We traveled to London all the way to London to play an effing cement." I mean, and you could see it too. Taron Johnson. There was no coincidence too between the NFL screwing the Bills and the cement turf. First of all, they switched from grass to turf because whatever Premier League soccer, I guess football it's called, is played there. So that's why they had grass and they switched it to turf. But I don't understand why they even switched it. And then Taron Johnson's got his ankle rolled up, his foot stuck, he said. There were multiple injuries in the day, guys going in and out, and then two significant ones, which we'll get to. But I just really, really have a tough time understanding how the NFL justified all this and how the NFL thought this was a good idea. Experiment failed. Next, I want to touch on the refs. I know I got a lot to air, grievances to air out here, and get off my chest, so just stick with me to then. The refs in this game were terrible. Like, the Jags had like 3 penalties the whole game, 3 or 4, and the Bills had like 11 or 12 the whole game. Now, some of those were unforced errors by the Bills, but at least like 4 or 5 of those were crap calls by the Bills, or by the refs, I should say, on the Bills. So egregious, just utterly ridiculous. Phantom roughing the passer calls. The NFL wants these defensive linemen and whoever, honestly, in the defense to coddle these quarterbacks. The first roughing the passer, Trevor Lawrence embellished it so much. Like, Ed Oliver barely even touched him. He got to him right as the ball was coming out, roughing the passer, total crap. And then the second roughing the passer, a couple drives later, I believe it was Jordan Poyer. He didn't even touch his head. They said he made forcible contact, incidental contact to his head. No, they didn't. I saw the slow-mo replay. Jordan Poyer was trying to pull up. He didn't do anything. And then the refs, are you kidding me? They call when the Bills are trying to come back. They failed the 2-point conversion after this touchdown, but touchdown to Gabe Davis. They call an offensive OPI, offensive pass interference on Stefon Diggs, and Stefon Diggs wasn't even running the route. Even the commentators were like, Rich Eisen and Kurt Warner were on the call for NFL Network because they work for them over there. They were in London. They were saying, who are they calling? It's on Gabe Davis? No, it was Stefon Diggs, and he wasn't running the route. Thank God the Bills showed the refs and got into the touchdown anyway, regardless, the play after. But, like, this London product is not good. It's snap, flag, injury flag, injury, snap. Whatever order, it's just bad. This is not a good product. Honestly, if I wasn't a Bills or Jags fan, and much of a Bills fan as I am, I might do something else to the 1 p.m. slate. Honestly, that's what I do most weekends. But if there's a London game, but this is not a good product. Like, I was hyped for the Bills, but it's just not a good product. Next, injuries because of the turf, because of whatever. Oh, one more thing I do want to mention. Now, yes, the NFL did screw the Bills, in my opinion. But Sean McDermott and whatever sports science team we're talking to over there in Orchard Park in Buffalo has to be better. You got to know the situation, man. I believe the Jags got there on the Wednesday before they played their first game against the Falcons in London. And the Bills to get there on a Friday. So basically they told the guys they leave Thursday evening, so Eastern time in Buffalo, New York. So they leave Thursday evening Eastern time. I don't remember the exact time. Like 7, 8 p.m. Eastern. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So they leave and they tell the guys to sleep on the plane. Most of the guys couldn't anyway. And then they get there and they tell the guys Friday, we're going to go right to practice and don't sleep at all on Saturday. Don't sleep at all, but get a good night's sleep Friday night and Saturday night, even though it's hard. Josh Allen even said, I'm not a coffee drinker like ever at all. Big coffee drinker, I should say. And he even had to have some of that London coffee because he said he was kind of sleepwalking. And then Stefon Diggs jokingly called him sleepyhead, but it was kind of like sleepyhead because McDermott's got to be better. He said before the game that, like, we trust our sports science department. He was asked why they go in London so late. We trust our sports science department. This is what we're being told by the experts, I guess. And after the game, he said, about it, yeah, we got to go back and talk with our sports science team and all those logistics because whatever we did or we're doing didn't work. Yeah, clearly, Sean. I can't believe you gave the guys basically Saturday, a day in between. Get there Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday's the latest, Wednesday the earliest. Ideally, I would get there Wednesday. Practice in Orchard Park and watch film Monday and Tuesday. Get there Wednesday, have practices Thursday and Friday, and have Saturday to rest up, do whatever. That's just my opinion. Excuse me. Okay. Clear my throat there. So for injuries, these are significant. I don't know what else to say. Like, I blame the NFL and the turf. The cement, I should say, but whatever. Actually, let me change my topic banner here so you guys know what we're talking about. Injuries. So Christian Benford and Greg Rousseau and surprisingly Shaq Lawson were all ruled out before the game. I made a video on Friday detailing Christian Benford was questionable, but he was leaning towards playing. I guess he didn't play, but I made a video Friday after the news broke that Greg Rousseau wasn't going to play, and this is kind of concerning. People are worried about a foot fracture at the worst, so maybe go on IR for 4 weeks, heal up. Because he had a foot problem last year, but he didn't go on IR. He only missed 2 games, so he kind of played through it. So, yeah. Next, Taron Johnson left game with injury for a bit and then returned a few drives later because it was a close game. If it was a blow, I don't think he would have returned, but they had Cam Lewis playing nickel cornerbacks and then Saran Neal playing there as well. That's not Cam Lewis' strong suit. He plays safety and special teams mostly, and he barely plays defense, so he's mostly a special teams player his whole career. Cool story, though. Undrafted local kid out of UB. And then Kingsley Jonathan left the game more than once, on multiple occasions, actually. He left the game in the early and then came back, left the game again, a few drives, and then came back. Actually, the second time, I don't think he came back. And he's a nice young player, another somewhat local kid, not as local as UB, obviously, but somewhat local kid from Syracuse there. So, yeah. And then these last two are big. I don't even want to say this because this is just so devastating, but I guess I have to relate it, guys. Matt Milano suffers fractured leg and feared to have suffered season-ending knee injury. The team is checking on the ACL, but all indications are he'll be out for the season. I mean, that's 2 injuries. Sucks. A fractured leg and a season-ending, probably torn ACL. I mean, brutal. Especially a week after losing Trey White. Yeah, you have to weigh positive Von Miller coming back, but negative Matt Milano out for the season. And a week after losing Trey White for the season, they're going to have to make a move here. Well, I'll talk about the linebacker implications later. And then Daquan Jones suffers pec injury. Doesn't look good in quotations according to McDermott. I'm fearful, and people are fearful of a torn pec, most likely. That would be out for the season. He was an elite run stuffer. Now it's going to push Jordan Phillips and Tim Settle up, which they haven't been too impressive, especially Tim Settle, like I mentioned. And then you have Poona Ford being active, who I don't know. He's only been active week 1, and that's it. Inactive week 2, 3, 4, and now 5 against the Jags in London yesterday, as you know. This is brutal, though. Daquan Jones is elite. He had like a 93 PFF grade so far this season through 4 games. It's an elite. He's an elite run stuffer, but he had 2.5 sacks already in 4 games, and he was on track for maybe not much more, but a few more at the at least. And I didn't know he had that pass rushing acumen. I just thought it was elite run stuffer, but Daquan Jones, like, I was even thinking they could extend him in season because he is 31 years old, so he's probably not looking for a huge amount of money like an AJ Epinesa, which we'll get to later in my stock report, but yeah. This is just brutal. Milano out for the season. Daquan Jones likely out for the season with a torn. I haven't seen anything, but people are fearful and likely to be a torn pec. Next, we are going to go. Through my stock report. Okay, we are going to go through my stock report. So, if you know, you know by now. If you've been around for a while, this season. Even dating back to preseason. So stock up guys that really helped themselves here. That had a really banner day or even an above average day. Stock up quarterback Josh Allen, 27 of 40, 68% completion percentage, 359 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but I'll get to that when I get to that. 14 rushing yards, and he added a touchdown on the ground. This wasn't a banner day like AFC Offensive Player of the Week. like it has been for the last 2 times already this season, but none of this game's on him, man. Ken Dorsey didn't put him in good situations. His receivers, outside of a couple guys, didn't really do anything. So yeah, I don't blame him at all. Next, stock up wide receiver Stephon Diggs. He's on an unreal pace, guys. 4 out of the 5 games. The only time he didn't have a 100-yard receiving day, 100-yard game, I should say, is week 2 against the Raiders, and he had 66 and very close, obviously. Wide receiver Stephon Diggs, stock up. 8 catches, 121 yards, and 1 touchdown. Awesome, awesome. He did have a fumble at the end of the game, but again, I don't blame him for that. That's a stupid play call anyway. Ken Dorsey, you got 23 seconds left, no timeouts, and you go through an 11-yard middle of the field pass. Even if Diggs had caught it and stayed and not fumbled it, he would have been tackled, bam, immediately. Come on, you got to go down the field, Ken. Next, I talked about one of my keys to the game was getting a true slot receiver going, not like a Dalton Kincaid quasi slot receiver, like a true one, like Khalil Shakir, Trent Sherfield, Deontay Hardy. And I give props to wide receiver Deontay Hardy. Stack up 2 catches for 62 yards, 31 average. So that Deontay Hardy guy has, that Deontay Hardy guy has tons of speed, right? I think he's not as explosive as I saw him in New Orleans on the Saints the last 2 years because turf toe and whatnot that can linger, but he is still very explosive, honestly. This is why what was I saying? I've been wanting them to do this all season with Hardy, a couple of deep shots here and there a game to uncork the defense, and I think they did that. Next, linebacker Terrell Bernard. He had 16 tackles. He didn't do anything like gaudy numbers like he has been the last couple of weeks against Washington. Like, I don't know if he'll ever repeat that performance, but where he won AC Defense Player of the Week. But he had 16 tackles. He was flying around. And once Matt Milano went out, I know he's a young guy, but he had to pick up the slack because Dorian Williams was starting, and then Tyrell Dodson came in. Speak of Dorian Williams, I thought he made a really nice playing ball. 1 pass deflection and 5 tackles. 5 tackles is whatever, but I thought he made a really nice pass deflection. I don't know if he's since the good thing is he has experience at both middle linebacker and weak side linebacker as Milano's direct backup. They trained him in that both the summer, spring, whatever. Spring, summer in that order, I should say. So yeah. Defensive tackle Ed Oliver. He had 1 sack, 2 QB hits, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 sack, 2 QB hits, 3 tackles for loss, and 9 tackles in general. He was all over the place. Monster. He would pick up the slack in a huge way for Daquan Jones. Yes, Daquan Jones plays off of Ed Oliver, and Ed Oliver plays off of Daquan Jones. Losing a nose tackle like Daquan Jones is rough, guys, but most likely for a season again. But Oliver, that first defensive drive of the game, looked really rough for me. He had 2 penalties, even though one was a total BS call, in my opinion, to put bluntly. But yeah, that's just what I got in there. And then defensive end Leonard Floyd, who had 2 sacks and 2 tackles. Other than that, but I didn't know we had 5 total sacks in a day. I didn't know we got to Trevor Lawrence that much. I didn't even know Leonard Floyd attacked. He didn't work into rookie right tackle Anton Harrison like I said is a key for the Bills defense in my preview from Friday a few days ago. But or Thursday a few days 4 days ago by now. Yeah, so yeah, and then defense AJ Epinesa. Thank God for him, right? 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 3 pass deflections, 4 tackles. Now, I don't think he's going to get $17 million a year Tremaine Edmonds money. He's a defensive end. Edmonds is a linebacker. But if he wants more, I think right now he's a $5 to $8 million a year player. The most I would go is 9 because Shaq Lawson's a free agent. Leonard Floyd's a free agent. Daquan Jones is a free agent. The injury will affect that. Poona Ford, Tim Settle, Jordan Phillips, and most importantly, AJ Epinesa. So, got a lot of defensive linemen to choose between. The most I would go for Epinesa is 9 a year, but if he wants more than 9 a year, unfortunately, he's not going to get it from us, I don't think. I wouldn't, in my opinion, either. Mix, these are guys that didn't hurt themselves, but didn't help themselves, didn't really have a good or bad day, just kind of ordinary, maybe wanted a little more from. Cornerback Dane Jackson, 1 pass deflection, 8 tackles. Now, we'll get to Calvin Ridley in a second. In one guy who stocked down in that corner, unfortunately. But Dane Jackson, was it Evan Ingram, perfect pass laser by Trevor Lawrence in the end zone. Evan Ingram had it for a second, and then Dane Jackson comes down, swats it away, and breaks it up. That was really nice. But I feel like Dane Jackson wasn't around the ball enough. I feel like he got burned by Christian Kirk and Jay Jones, especially on that touchdown a couple times. Next for mixed. And lastly, I only have two guys here. Safety Micah Hyde, 6 tackles. And I thought he should have been more involved. On that last play of the game, Calvin Ridley torched him. He wasn't even close to him. That set up that Travis Etienne game-winning touchdown. Basically game-winning. Next, stock down. Unfortunately, I have like 5 guys here, which is like, because the last couple of days recaps, I haven't had anyone. But unfortunately, I do. Guard Osiris Torrance. The whole line was terrible today, but one guy in particular, Osiris Torrance, on one drive, so I could say the whole line, but one guy in particular, Osiris Torrance, one drive, he had 2 penalties in a row, holding, and then like false start or 2 holdings in a row. And then James Cook, 5 carries for -4 yards, 3 catches, 25 yards. Yes, the offensive line wasn't blocking for him, but on the other side of the token, if you will, I love James Cook, and I've said this before, even when he's had great games, good to great games, and above average, whatnot. He dances too much. Like when he gets the ball, he's always juking around in the backfield. Just go, bolt, like move. You're an elusive back. Stop trying to dance around behind the line, and you always get tackled for loss. And he had -4 yards today. Disgusting. Tight end Dawson Knox, 3 catches for 17 yards. He had 2 key drops, one early game. The second one was a really high, not tad high of a throw, but he still should have brought it down. He still has drop issues. I'll get to that lastly, actually. And then offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. I didn't like his play calling whatsoever. If I were to grade it, I don't give grades here, but if I were to, I would give him Ken Dorsey's offensive coordinator play calling a C. Yeah, some of it was execution, but like on 3rd and 1, you're doing a pass behind the line. What bizarre world do we live in? On 3rd and 1, a pass behind the line, you have a 6'3", 230-pound running back. I don't know if you knew this, but his name is Latavius Murray. Why don't you use him? He's a freight train. And then they get lost for a 6-yard loss, I should say. And then on 3rd and 7, Ken Dorsey tells us, yeah, Josh, let's just throw a screen pass here, and let's hope we get yards. A screen on 3rd and 7? What are you thinking? And it was dropped. Even if it was caught, it would have been like a 1-yard gain or probably none. Honest to God. Those were 2 plays that stuck out, and then a couple other things here and there. Last stock down, man. Cornerback Kyrie Lemmy had 11 tackles in the day, but he was missing crucial tackles. He got beat up. He was taken to school basically by Calvin Ridley. They're clearly picking on him. He even got benched the last 2 drives for undrafted free agent out of UB last year, Jamarcus Ingram. Listen, I've been an Elam believer this whole time. If you listen to this podcast for any amount of time, new, old, somewhere in between, whatever, I've been an Elam believer. My thought process with him has always been the Bills aren't giving him enough opportunities. The Bills aren't letting him play. He was good last year in the playoffs, and clearly we see why he was so far down the depth chart, getting benched for an undrafted guy when you're a first-round pick. They they drafted this guy. They drafted this guy they traded up 2 picks for him, just like Dalton Kincaid. But technically, he went a pick before Dalton Kincaid the year prior. So, and my question is, like, with Kyrie Elam, Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, if you knew he wasn't going to fit your scheme because he was a man-heavy corner coming from Florida to his own heavy scheme with the Bills, if you knew he wasn't going to fit your scheme, why even draft him? Like, it's very hard to change a player's scheme and mentality. Like, I don't get it at all. But whatever. Next, I have some awards to give out. So, my first award is my big slice of the game. Who really stood out around the slice? Big slice. AJ Epinesa. Thank God for him. I could have given it to Stefan Diggs or Josh Allen, but I like to give it to other players to get some shine. So, AJ Epinesa. My second of 2 awards. Now, this is the analogy I use. How do I say this? So say every Friday night with your family, friends, or whatever, you get a pizza from this local pizza shop, I should say. It's always consistent, always 10 out of 10. And then all of a sudden, one Friday night, weirdly, it comes back either burnt or not good. So this player, or it's disappointing. So this player is disappointing. So my most My burnt slice of the game award, unfortunately, goes to cornerback. It goes to Kaiir Elam. So burnt slice of the game award, Kaiir Elam, for all the reasons I just mentioned. I was expecting so much, and he gave me so little. Highly disappointing. Next, this is the fun part where I get to make fun of myself. And because I've been terrible on these, when I say make fun of myself, I've been terrible on these predictions, 5-game predictions. So Thursday, we made 5-game predictions as we do every week, and we are going to reflect on those. So I'll just say if it happened or didn't happen. First, I predicted Stefon Diggs has 150 yards receiving. He only had 121. Didn't happen. 0 for 1. Next, Dalton Kincaid gets his first touchdown of the season. I will keep predicting this in previews, by the way, so be warned, but you should know, I should say. That didn't happen, clearly. James Cook has 3 total touchdowns. Didn't happen. Non-effective. Dances too much. Leonard Floyd has a sack and an interception. Didn't happen. He had 2 sacks, but he had no receptions. Like I said, I didn't know he was effective as he was. But, yeah. So I'm 0-4, and the last prediction is always if who wins in the score. So I predicted the Bills win the game 40-28, and they lost the game 25-20. So that didn't happen. So I'm 0-5 on this week's prediction. I'm so bad at these this season. Go back and listen to prior episodes. I don't even know my hit rate by now. It's probably under 10%. Next, just my final thoughts on certain position groups and situations coming out of this game going forward. The tight ends need to be more involved. Like, do you even know you have tight ends on this team? Like, no, Knox had 3 catches for 17 yards, and Dalton Kincaid had 2 catches for 19 yards. What is going on here? Other than Stefon Diggs and a couple of deep shots to Deontay Hardy and Gabe Davis, no one had really bannered that till late. I know that's a lot of production, but the point remains: where are the tight ends, Ken Dorsey? On 3rd and whatever, 3rd and 5, I think it was, you're throwing to your 3rd string tight end, Quentin Morris, who's there for special teams blocking purposes, and he's playing a decent amount of snaps on offense, but he probably wasn't expecting to get the ball. Now, yes, Gabe Davis had a drop, and Dawson Knox a couple, and Quentin Morris has got to come down with that easy sideline catch, but your 3rd string tight end on 3rd and 5, you have 2 starting big tight ends in Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. What is going on? Like, I love Quentin Morris, but he's a blocker. Come on. Next, I just want to say, even though he was on a pitch count and only played in the first half, it was great to see Von Miller back out there and playing. Now, it's a mix of emotions because Von Miller great, but Trey White goes down, Matt Milano goes down, Daquan Jones goes down for the season. It's horrible, but at least a shred of hope and a shred of light, positivity, I should say. Von Miller it comes back there. And he'll be ramped up as the season goes on. The defensive line straight up is beat up right now. Daquan Jones likely out for the season. Greg Rousseau could go on IR and miss 4 weeks. Shaq Lawson missed today, and Kingsley Jonathan was in and out the whole game because of the crappy turf. And then is a move at linebacker coming? Whether it's a trade, I don't have guys in mind, but whether it's a trade, whether it's a signing, like Jordan Williams, he's a rookie. I guess he could start, but like if crap goes south, then I don't know. And then lastly, the secondary is really beat up right now. Obviously, we knew about Trey White, but Taron Johnson got his foot stuck, and Christian Benford didn't play today. Good thing is Taron Johnson came back. But yeah, lastly, our last little segments here. We are going to go through the AFC East check-in. So I gave an AFC East look ahead on Thursday in my preview. So how did these teams fare? Obviously, Jaguars beat the Bills 25-20. Dolphins beat the Giants 31-16 on the back of Devon Achane. Beast, I guess. Saints beat the Patriots 34-0. Bill Belichick's nothing without Tom Brady. Mac Jones got benched again. Bill Belichick keeps saying, well, he didn't get benched because of his performance. He got benched because of the score of the game. Okay, Bill, you say that. He's pretty bad, but whatever. You say it's not because of his performance. And then the Jets beat the Broncos 31-21. AFC East standings currently after week 5. So this is how we're sitting right now. The Dolphins are first at 4. No one's tied. So the Dolphins are first at 4-1. So no tiebreakers. The Bills are second at 3-2. The Jets are third at 2-3. Patriots are fourth at 1-4. The Jets could be a sneaky team. It's basically between the Dolphins and Bills here, in my opinion. It could very well, let's be honest, come down to that week 18 matchup with the Dolphins. Bills and Dolphins week 18. So that could come down to that. But Yeah, I don't really Patriots are nothing. And then the Jets could be sneaky, like I said. Zach Wilson sneaky, I guess. And then Bills are 0-2 and 0-1 the AFC. It's against 1-1. Lost the Jets, beat the Dolphins. And then 0-2 in the AFC in general, though. That can't happen. We can't lose to another AFC team. We got to beat the Bengals in a few weeks. Got to take care of these AFC teams because we're in the conference, the AFC conference, we're 0-2 against the Jets and Jags. So that can't happen. Anyway, to end off, I would just like to say thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to see me other places, you can follow me on Twitter personally at aweingardner13. You can follow the show for any updates, scheduling conflicts, not conflicts, scheduling updates, I should say, at Around Slice on Twitter. And you can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and watch it here in the relatively still new YouTube channel or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Audio, video, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. And then one last thing, if you want to support the show on Patreon, it's basically a way for you guys to support me beyond just the podcast for extra exclusive content. So every Tuesday, so tomorrow I'll be releasing them. I give power rankings 1 through 32, looking at the league as a whole. I indicate how much they moved up. Except I didn't do it last week. I was really busy launching this new channel. Anyway, for just $3 a month, you can sign up at patreon.com/roundtheslice. I'll put it in the description here on YouTube or wherever you're listening. But that, again, patreon.com/aroundtheslice. I will see you guys Thursday, October, let's see here. I'll see you guys this Thursday, October 12th, for the Bills-Giants Sunday Night Football preview. So yeah, thank you for listening for today. I hope you're enjoying the new video format, and I will see you next time. Bye.